Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Leïla. On this channel, I talk about personal development and my life here in Seoul, South Korea. So in today's video, we are going to talk about Korean. So if you are intermediate in Korean and you are wondering how can I improve my Korean or how can I at least maintain my Korean and not let it get bad, then this video is for you because I'm going to share a few of my favorites. My first disclaimer is to say that none of those tips actually require you to be in Korea. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you follow them, then you should be fine. My number one tip would be to find a conversation partner. As you know, when it comes to learning languages, the most important thing, or at least the thing that's very hard for everyone, is speaking, right? So you want to be able to express yourself. You want to be able to do it in a way that's fluent, that's natural, without you overthinking in your head. And for that, you need practice. So getting a conversation partner would be the best way to go. Now, if you have Korean friends, your natural way of thinking would be, then I can use my friend. But the truth is, friends don't really have time. First of all, everybody has a life, and when you meet and you spend time together, you are actually enjoying the moment. You don't want to be asking grammar questions. You don't want to be talking about a very specific subject just because you feel like it, and you certainly do not want your friend to feel like you're using them, right? So I personally believe that the only reason why you would use a friend is if there is a clear exchange, meaning that that friend is interested in the language that you speak and you are interested in Korean. So I'm going to share with you two of the ways I have conversation partners. So the first option that I have is I actually pay someone. So I have a teacher. I pay her 25,000 Korean won an hour. We meet at a coffee shop, and during that time I pick the subject. Usually I just want to tell her about my week, and as I'm explaining things to her, she corrects me. She gives me expressions that people use for certain situations, and we overall have a good time. And I don't feel bad because I'm paying her, therefore I can enjoy this 1 hour without feeling guilty, if you know what I mean. The second conversation partner that I have is actually a friend, but this friend is interested in French. So for 1 hour we speak French, and for 1 hour we speak Korean. We meet at a coffee shop and we do just that. And it's outside of any friendship related activities that we could be doing. And during that time, she comes with, things she wants to talk about, things that she's learning in class, and I come with my own stuff. Usually I have a list of expressions or things that I would like her to help me translate from English to Korean, or if I have a very specific subject of conversation that I want to talk about, then I will do it with her. And in that way, there is no ickiness, in the sense where we're getting something out of it, the two of us, like I'm not using you, you're not using me, and it just makes the relationship easier. I personally believe that if you were to use a friend as a conversation partner, sometimes they might feel obligated and they might ghost you or like invent excuses as to why they're not available. But if you make it clear, as in this is an exchange, you get something out of it, I get something out of it, then it makes it easier. So I guess my overall point is, whether you're paying the person or not, you just have to make sure that everybody is aware that this is an exchange. So let's move on to my tip number 2, which is in regard to reading and writing. Reading and writing are very important, and I feel like people sometimes completely forget about it, but it's going to help you with your speaking abilities. So let me explain. Let's start with writing. Writing is basically reading, but in a more relaxed form. You still have to formulate sentences. In speaking, you have to do it fast, but in writing, you can take your time. So if you were to, let's say, do some journaling, talking about your day, it doesn't have to be long. It could be like 5 to 10 sentences in Korean talking about your day. It's going to force you to use grammar and vocabulary, and it's going to force you to make sentences that you will remember later, that you could then use when you speak as well. So what you could do is you could journal in Korean and send it to either a teacher that you have or a friend with whom you have a previous agreement. Again, we don't want to bother people or feel like we're using people. And you send it to that person can correct you. So let's say, for example, you want to explain a situation and you think that this is the proper expression, but actually in Korean, it's not something that people use. Then that friend can correct you, and you can remember that for later when you speak or talk about the matter, then you can use that thing you just learned. So writing is, in my opinion, something that's very helpful. The second thing is reading in Korean. Again, reading, you will see how other people formulate sentences. You're going to see what kind of grammar that they use and what kind of vocabulary that they use. Therefore, it's going to help you in your speaking abilities as well. So I currently have 3 books that I am reading simultaneously whenever I have time. So this one is something I really like. I bought it at a Korean bookstore, and the funny thing is, it's actually presented this way. So you have a cartoon here explaining a situation, then you have an explanation, and then you have like a little bit of a grammar and a culture related explanation. So the beauty about this book is it tells you about Korean culture, things that Korean people say, things that they do, expression that they use that might be confusing. So it's telling you about the situation, and it's telling you why Korean people do that or say that way. So when you encounter that particular situation in your life, you would know what to do, or you would know what to expect. I mean, it's a brilliant book. I highly recommend it. The second thing that I'm using right now is a book that's based off a Korean drama, which I thought the concept was actually very interesting. So again, what they would do is they would have dialogue that was in the drama, and the dialogue would have annotation in like grammar or explaining the reason why things are that way. So you have grammar lessons and you have cultural lessons as well, and vocabulary that you can learn. And it's in Korean, and you have the translation in English right below. So I think this is a very interesting concept as well. I know people don't like to read, and I can understand that, but at least with those 2 books, the particularity is that this one is Korean drama related, and this one is cultural related, and it's fun to read. Now, I have another book that I cannot show you because it is in my Kindle, but that book, I'm going to put the name of the book in not the comment section, in the description of the video for those of you who are interested. And that book is particularly made for Korean learners. So the vocabulary and the grammar that they use is made for people who are learning Korean. So you have the story in Korean, then you have the translation of the story in English, and then you have some grammar explanation, some vocabulary explanation. I think it's brilliant. So yeah, again, writing and reading is very important. Please do not neglect that. So let's move on to your listening skills. How, as an intermediate in Korean, you can improve your listening skills. I have 2 options for you, depending on what type of medium you prefer. So the number 1 would be podcast. So with the podcast, of course, if it's geared towards people who are learning Korean, they are going to pick subjects and vocabularies that are easier to understand. So I have one podcast I would like to recommend. It's Talk to Me in Korean. I know everybody knows Talk to Me in Korean, right? So the name of their podcast, and I use it via Spotify, it is Talk to Me in 100% Korean. And what they do is basically they gather and they have conversations that last about 15 to 20 minutes, and they pick a subject and they talk about it all in Korean, and then you have the transcript available with the translation if you're interested. What I like also is that they renew it. I think they have like new episode every week or so. So yeah, this is pretty nice. I mean, if you're taking the subway, or if you are out and about, or even if you're home and you have nothing else to do, you can just plug that in and listen to the conversation and see how much of it you actually understand. The other option, if you're more of a visual person, then you can go on YouTube and find Korean YouTuber and just listen to what they have to say, because they speak regular Korean or everyday Korean. For me, it's kind of hard because watching people's life is not really something I'm interested in. But if the person, let's say, is traveling around, I know I was made aware of this when a friend of mine sent me a video of this YouTuber who travels around Africa and offers, some insight and like her opinion, etc. And that's how I realized, that's actually an interesting concept. I get to see what she's doing, and then she's talking about it in Korean, and I can practice my Korean at the same time. So if you find a YouTuber like that who lives a certain lifestyle you're interested in or talks about things you're interested in, then you can actually try to listen to what she has to say and practice your Korean and see how much of what she's sharing you understand. Let's move on to the last tip, which is basically what everybody has been doing, which is watching Korean dramas. But here in this particular case, you would watch the Korean drama with Korean subtitles. I have Netflix, so I have those different options of different subtitles. I pick Korean and I watch the whole thing. Now, you need patience for that because you will not understand everything. And a drama that takes about, let's say, 45 minutes to watch might take you an hour or so. So sometimes it is frustrating, but I try to, make it work. So basically, I would watch it in Korean, and then if it's like an important scene and I don't understand everything, I would rewatch the scene again the second time. And if after the second time I still don't get it, then I would watch it again a third time with English subtitles to, understand what was happening and then hopefully learn a new vocabulary. So it takes time, and if you just want to relax and watch your Korean drama and enjoy it, then it might not be the best way for you, but it's an option that's there, and that's quite useful if I say so myself. Now let's say you want to enjoy a show without the stress of like always checking the English translation because there is none. You can go with like entertainment TV shows, and on Netflix you have plenty of them with no English subtitles. I have my own guilty pleasure. It's called 에로부부. 에로부부, yes, Doomed Marriage. And it talks about, and it's actually based on real stories, guys, of like men and women cheating, when they're married and stuff, crazy stuff. And there's no English subtitles, and I usually understand, I would say 70% of what's happening. And and I get to enjoy that without like, if there's a word that I don't understand, it's like, whatever, let's just keep on watching, and I don't have that pressure. So you can also do that as well. So that is all for my tips, and if I'm honest, these are things that I don't always do on a regular basis, but things that I know work and things that I know are available to me. So when I remember to do the right thing, I would pick one of those options and then focus on it. So I hope that's going to be helpful to you. As far as like my Korean learning journey, I am still very much insecure in terms of everything, all my abilities to read, to write, to speak. And the funny thing is, it's always the people around me that are telling me, girl, stop it, you're tripping. But yeah, I am still, my identity hasn't really merged or changed into Leïla knows Korean. I am still in that Leïla is not good at Korean, Leïla is still learning Korean, and I don't know, it's just a mindset problem at this point. But what I'm trying to do in the real life is to actually work on it as much as I can and try to make it a priority, because when you don't go to class anymore, which is my case, and you're just now navigating life, you have to set time to actually continue your learning process. Otherwise you will stagnate or you would get worse at it. And when I think about like my English journey, for example, I really put a lot of hard work into it to be at the level I am today. So there's no way I can get there with Korean if I don't put as much effort into it. So it's still a journey. And if you were to ask me, do you speak Korean? I will still tell you no. Because it's like almost like a reflex that I have. And it's just, oh God, it's funny. But it's a mindset problem at this point. So yeah, I wish you good luck in your journey, and I hope it's an enjoyable one. Despite the ups and the downs, we'll get there eventually. So thank you for watching, and you will see me in the next video. Until then, take very good care of yourselves. Bye. Mwah.